Now on CoastTV News.
Coastal erosion, keeping an eye on the beaches in Bethany during rough surf and high seas.
Cars still covered in snow and ice days after the winter storm, and hazards hang in the air.
Looking out for seniors as a new storm bears down on a cold coast.
We saw record cold across Delmarva today, and into the weekend we're tracking a powerful area of low pressure with minor snowfall Saturday, but major coastal impacts with wind and beach erosion Sunday. Details coming up.
This is CoastTV News at 5.
The sand ahead of the storm. Coastal beaches bracing for another weather-filled weekend. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. We begin tonight with beach entrances that were just repaired but could see more damage.
Back in October, let's show you what those beach entrances in Bethany looked like after a coastal storm. Yeah, not good. They were repaired right after Thanksgiving, but with heavy wind and rough surf expected to hit Bethany this weekend, there is more concern for erosion. Coast TV News reporter Brandon Ferguson was in our Coast Copter looking at how the coastline could change.
Bethany Beach is one of the narrowest beaches on the ocean. As we look down from our Coast Copter, you can see how close the water is to the boardwalk already before the storm has even started.
Owner of Water Lily Boutique, Lily Aller has a front row seat to the ocean and says they will try to open on Monday.
Mother Nature is going to do what she wants to do, and as you know, on the boardwalk we tied everything down. Our posts will be tied down, our chairs will be put away in preparation of the winds.
Beach erosion is nothing new for Bethany Beach, with wind gusts expected to reach 55 miles per hour. That can easily blow sand out of place. Sand that was just put down months ago when DENREC fixed beach entrances from October's nor'easter. Bethany Beach Mayor Ron Khalif says the town could close access to the beach depending on how bad Bethany is hit.
The most we'd be doing this weekend is kind of watching, observing, and if we do get any erosion, we may have to close some crossovers.
Mayor Khalif does not think any repairs will be needed, but if they do, he believes that DENREC will fund them just like they did in late November. In the Coast Copter above Bethany Beach, Brandon Ferguson, Coast TV News.
Just a few miles north of Bethany Beach, the Indian River Inlet has suffered from erosion for years, with dunes breaching multiple times in the past. To protect the shoreline, tens of millions of dollars have been poured into repairs and restoration, more than $43 million in total funding projects like beach replenishment.
A University of Delaware pilot program is using shoreline cameras to study how wind, waves, and storms affect the Delaware beaches. That's actually a camera right there, and it's to help guide future replenishment efforts. The cameras take still pictures every 30 minutes to document tides and storm impacts. The goal is to provide better data to better understand coastal vulnerabilities and sand movement. The project includes 10 cameras, one in Lewis.
Each storm has its own character, but each beach site has its own character and influences on how the waves come into the beach and interact with it. So this will allow us to better understand more holistically what is happening with sand transport and where it might be useful for investment in long-term monitoring using cameras.
This is a pilot program scheduled to end April 30th, but organizers hope to continue past that date.
Take a look at this. It is a shattered windshield from a chunk of ice that flew off a truck and seriously injured the passenger in the car. Coast TV News reporter Emma Aiken is live in Milton. Emma, it's the lasting cold that's making clearing off all these cars even more important.
Charlie, it's now been days since snowfall, but it's still frozen all around, and this wasn't that light, fluffy snow. We now have hard, large chunks of ice, practically weapons if your car still looks like this when you try to drive. Taking a few extra minutes to clear off the ice and snow can save a life. We spoke with Georgetown EMS today, who responded to this ice injury. They say all of these conditions combined outside have made the ice even more dangerous, like the wind combined with the movement of cars. EMTs say cleaning your car off is critical for multiple reasons.
I think the thing that people don't realize, they think it's okay not to clean their cars off, but in actuality can cause a lot of other problems as they drive their vehicles and ice comes off. For people to run over it, it can cause accidents and all kinds of stuff. That's why it's so important that they clean the top of their car and the vehicle off before they drive it.
Another important thing to note, while it is a good idea to keep your distance behind cars when you're driving, especially through winter weather, in this case, the car and the truck were going in opposite directions, meaning, again, really the best thing to do here is clear off your car. Reporting live here in Milton tonight, Emma Aiken, Coast TV News.
This brings us right into our Coast TV poll. We want to know what's hardest about winter driving.
Let's take a look at the results. So far, 82% say icy roads, 0% say frozen wipers, 18% though say slow traffic.
You can go vote in this poll right now. It's on our website, coasttv.com, or you can use our mobile app.
As we look ahead to this weekend, not only will we have coverage here Saturday, but Sunday on our app we'll have a broadcast with our sister station WBOC. That's Sunday morning at 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. Sunday. Then we are back on the air here Sunday at 11. And anytime you can watch our newscasts via Coast TV's app on Roku, Fire TV, or even Apple TV.
We're taking a live look into Laurel right now. Just a gorgeous shot out there as the sun is starting to get a little low in the sky. Let's check in with our first alert meteorologist, Bob Trihey.
Good evening, Charlie. The coldest day of the year so far today. Temperature struggling to get into the low 20s. We set a new record cold high today, and we still have a cold weather advisory for Caroline, Kent, Sussex, and Talbot counties. So that basically goes right through the weekend into early Sunday morning and then points south from Cambridge to Vienna, Salisbury, and Ocean City. Your cold weather advisory through very early Sunday. As we're looking at bitterly cold temperatures, only 19 in Milton, Georgetown now, 19 in Gumboro, and 20 in Lewis and Rehoboth. Incredible cold for this time of year. As we're looking at a northwest breeze that's not too strong, but you don't need a lot of wind to knock down those feels-like temperatures. Feels like 9 in Laurel, 12 in Millsboro, 8 in Dagsboro, 6 in Lewis right now. So needless to say, bundle up this evening and cover up your extremities from frostbite. We're looking at high clouds increasing as we're tracking our weekend coastal low. Right now developing across the southeast, already spreading snow across Tennessee and North Carolina, but I've been looking at some recent models keeping this to our south. But we do have a winter weather advisory for areas around Somerset and Worcester counties, and that goes into effect tomorrow, continues until Sunday afternoon. With a winter storm warning farther south, I think that's where we'll see the accumulating snow with increasing clouds overnight, and with those thicker clouds, not as bitter cold into the morning hours, but we're looking at wind chills single digits above zero. More on that, plus the coastal storm that brings a little bit of snow, but a lot of coastal impacts coming up a little bit later on.
The bad weather put some of the region's most vulnerable people in need of extra attention. Staff at the Cheer Center in Georgetown say they're ready and working to make sure elderly people stay safe, warm, connected through this weekend's coastal storm. They say they coordinate with families, caregivers, and volunteers to reach seniors who live alone or have limited mobility.
We do as much service as we can ahead of time, and then we check on the seniors throughout the storm, and then as soon as we can, when it's safe, we get back and help them out.
It makes you feel good that somebody knows that we're here and that they can lend a helping hand.
Staffers say they are preparing days ahead with at least 2,000 meals in their freezers.
Delaware State Police have arrested 30-year-old Dempsey Fritchie of Lewis for felony assault. This was on Thursday around 5:45. Listen to this. Police say Fritchie told hotel staff at the Hyatt House Hotel that he killed his grandmother in one of the rooms. Troopers then found the 72-year-old woman unconscious and had injuries to her face and head. Fritchie has been charged with first-degree assault. His grandmother taken to an area hospital with life-threatening injuries. Tonight, many of the long-awaited documents related to the investigation of late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein have been made public.
But as NBC's Monica Albo reports, it comes on a day when the Senate is trying to avoid a partial government shutdown, and President Trump revealed his pick to be the next chair of the Federal Reserve.
Tonight, the Department of Justice says it has released millions more documents related to the investigations into the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Today, we are producing more than 3 million pages, including more than 2,000 videos and 180,000 images.
Many of the files have been redacted. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche says that is to protect potential victims and to prevent the release of private personal information. The document dump comes more than 40 days past a deadline set by federal law. Blanche says the delay was from the sheer number of documents that had to be reviewed and was not to protect President Trump, who was a friend of Epstein's until they had a falling out more than 15 years ago.
Let me just be clear, they had nothing to do with this review. They had no oversight over this review. They did not tell this department how to do our review, what to look for, what to redact, what to not redact.
President Trump has denied any wrongdoing tied to his association with Epstein and did not talk about the document release at an Oval Office event Friday, instead praising his pick for chairman of the Federal Reserve, Kevin Warsh.
This was the man that's most qualified, top student, best schools, everything was like perfect.
Warsh would replace Jerome Powell, who President Trump frequently criticizes and who is now the subject of a DOJ investigation. Republican North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis calls that investigation bogus. And while he says Warsh is qualified, Tillis insists he will oppose the confirmation of any Fed nominee until the DOJ investigation into Powell is over. This all happening as the Senate races to beat a midnight deadline to avoid a partial government shutdown.
Members are working on moving forward on a deal to fund the government and working on legislation desperately needed to rein in ICE's abuses.
Senate Democrats are refusing to fund the Department of Homeland Security after Saturday's shooting death of VA nurse Alex Preddy by federal agents. Today, the Justice Department confirmed it is conducting a civil rights investigation into Preddy's death. But the Deputy Attorney General said the shooting death of Renee Good by an ICE agent earlier this month is not being conducted as a civil rights investigation. The DOJ did not explain why. Monica Alba, NBC News, Washington.
Coming up, new air travel ID changes, the new options travelers can use starting February 1.
We saw a new record cold high today. The high was only 20. The previous record, 24 from 2012. A low of 10, record low of 5 below back in 2014. Congratulations to Wayne Spitzner from Lewis on winning a new umbrella from CoastTV, and Paul Davis. We're tracking a big coastal storm for the weekend. A little bit of snow, but a lot of wind and coastal impacts. More on that coming up a little bit later on.
We've reached the final weekend of January, and once again, the weather is affecting several events. The polar plunge was this weekend. Well, now it's February 27th to March 1st. Fire and ice in Bethany, that's now next weekend. But there's one cool thing to do. According to Dewey Beer Company, the Dewey and Friends Festival, that is still happening at the Hyatt there in Dewey Beach.
Delmarva remains in the grips of that bitter cold air mass. Record cold today. Look at the tidal health cam now. This screams winter. We've got some clouds. We've got the snow, 19 in Salisbury. And with the wind, we're feeling like single digits. We only got up to 20 in Georgetown, a new record cold high there, 23 in Ocean City and 21 in Cambridge. Now, as we head into the weekend, we are watching a powerful coastal storm. Now, as far as snow, I don't think we're looking at a lot here in Sussex County, maybe a dusting, light snow flurries, but there's going to be a sharp cutoff on the north and west side of this system, maybe up to 3 inches southern Worcester and Accomack counties as we go into this weekend. And as far as wind, the northeast wind is picking up into Sunday. We're going to see gusts at least 45 miles per hour inland and 50 plus at the coast. So that means we're looking at minor tidal flooding Sunday and Monday. We have a full moon on Monday, so that could be an astronomical high tide with large waves, high tide, full moon, the whole deal. It's going to be pretty rough into the weekend. Winter weather advisory now back through Somerset and Worcester counties where you could see accumulating snow, and then a winter storm warning farther south on the peninsula around Accomack County. That's where we'll see the heaviest snow. And then the bullseye is across the Carolinas where they could see upwards of a foot of snow, especially across the eastern part of the state. Frostbite risk, we're looking at sub-zero wind chills the next couple of days, moderate to high risk there. And then things do improve as we go into early next week, as we're looking at temperatures in the teens and low 20s, and with the wind feeling like single digits and teens. So we urge you to really be careful in this kind of cold. As we're seeing clouds developing, here's our coastal low here, developing across the southeast, already spreading snow across Tennessee into Virginia and North Carolina. But a lot of the recent models are keeping this to the south. And this is the European model. This has the snow closest to us, spreading into areas of southern parts of Delmarva, barely getting into Delaware as we go into tomorrow night. And then by Sunday, it's pulling offshore, and we're looking at just very windy conditions. And here's our in-house model showing a little bit of snow, southern parts of Delmarva, and then offshore very early Sunday morning. But you can see it does not get into Delaware as the system remains off to our south and east. So we have shifted the snow total map farther south and east, maybe a coating, Salisbury to Seaford, Millsboro, and Milton, and then 1 to 3 from Ocean View to Ocean Pines, and then farther south, maybe Fenwick Island, and then into Accomack County. That's where you're looking at about 3 to 5 inches of snow, and then the farther south you go, the more we'll get into that heavier snow. And the winds really ramp up as we head into Sunday, gusting at least 40 miles per hour at the coast, maybe close to 50 there as we go into the afternoon hours. And that will cause some problems at the coast, as we could see waves of 8 to 12 feet. Those are battering waves as we go into your Sunday, and that definitely could cause beach erosion. And we're looking at a coastal flood advisory for Sussex County into the weekend, where some of those favored lower spots could definitely see some flooding problems as we head into your Sunday. Paul Davis 7-day forecast. Yellow alert later tomorrow for light snow, but then a code red Sunday for that potential of coastal flooding and very strong winds, 26. And then Groundhog Day Monday, 33, finally above freezing the rest of the week. And then looks like maybe another round of rain and snow on Wednesday.
Thank you, Bob. Big changes in flying starting this weekend. According to AAA, February 1st is the day that travelers without a state-issued real ID passport or other form of ID can use a TSA Confirm ID. That's an optional program at TSA checkpoints that costs $45, but it's only good for 10 days, so just kind of one trip. AAA says the new TSA Confirm ID will be a last resort option for passengers, and they say really you should just get an ID or a passport.
Growth on the coast, we know it's a big issue. We have growing pains because everybody wants to live out here, but it comes at a cost. Roads, infrastructure, development, a loss of open space, and all of that creates conflict and concern.
We've investigated the deep-seated issues that brought us to where we are today, and Wednesday, February 4th at 7, we have a 1-hour special to help you understand the price of paradise, growth on the coast. Tonight on the Delmarva Sports Network at 5, we have Laurel at Sussex Tech live wrestling, and then the final score at 10:30. We'll be right back.
President Donald Trump is suing the IRS and Treasury Department for an eye-popping dollar figure. The president is seeking at least $10 billion for the unauthorized leak of his tax returns during his first administration. The suit alleges that the government failed to protect private tax information leaked to the press by Charles Littlejohn, a former IRS contractor. Littlejohn was sentenced to 5 years in prison in 2024, for President Trump is filing the suit personally alongside his 2 eldest sons. The IRS and Treasury Department have not yet commented.
Let's take a live look into Ocean View. One more check on your forecast is coming up after the break.
Coming up new on Coast TV News at 6, the Indian River Volunteer Fire Company ready for another storm, what firefighters say is their biggest challenge.
And heading out this evening, make sure you bundle up, cover up those extremities. It is that cold. You could get frostbite if you're out for a period of time with the exposed skin. Temperature and wind chill will falling through the teens, and I think we're into the single-digit wind chills as we go through the overnight hours, and just above 0 tomorrow morning with the wind. Actual temperatures upper single digits and lower teens, so very, very cold. Call the Coast TV First Alert weather phone for more on your forecast, sponsored by Brockstead, Mandalis, Federico. Paul Davis 10-day forecast, 24 Saturday, increasing clouds, late day light snow and flurries, maybe a coating to an inch around Sussex. More more to the south, less to the north. And then it's a code red on Sunday for very strong winds, beach erosion and winds over 50 miles per hour. Then Groundhog Day, above freezing, 33. We're above freezing the rest of next week, maybe rain and snow Wednesday. And then cold again into next weekend with snow and maybe even really cold again by Sunday. But then I think a bigger warm up into the following week.
We'll take it, Bob. Thank you. And thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 5.
For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
Inside Edition is up next.
And we'll see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 6. Have a great evening.